Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for my review of AMAIM Warrior at the Borderline Episode 15 Reunion. We pick up right where we left off last week with Amu coming to the rescue of the Resistance, and he is very assertive and confident in his abilities. Everyone seems a little worried. We go to the opening theme. I don't like this theme as much as the Season 1 Part 1 theme, but I think this is a good opening. Anyway, bad guys get worked off screen, so we never actually see the results of the battle, just a bunch of destroyed suits. And Misuzu is with him. That's the kind of chief architect who was working with Kuretsu in part one. We find and Shion and Amu go to have a heart-to-heart, but then they kind of don't. So it looks like Misuzu and Amu hooked up with this private military group that Misuzu is the head scientist, and she was kind of undercover pretending to be, this member of the Resistance. And then it winds up that she developed Ghost. The name of this company is called Ares. There's a bunch of organizations and weird holding structures, so I won't get too into that. But I like where this is going. It kind of seems like it's interesting, and it hits on one of the interesting aspects of the show, which is the kind of AI-based combat versus the human-based combat. So then we kind of cut back to the North American people, and Brad Watt, who's the redheaded guy, is trying to convince some political nerds to fund his AI AMAIM team. So then we go back to the Resistance, and there's just this huge info dump. Like I said, a lot of holding companies and corporations are working together to make these AI, and the original prototype escaped, and then that became the Ghost, and then that became the prototype for all the other little animal creature AI things that help run the AMAIMs. And kind of this entire time, Amu was constantly dodging, explaining what happened to him during the 8-month gap, and we're going to see that sort of continue for the rest of the episode. And they also do a flashback to the end of season 1, and we find out that the plan from these secret corporations or whatever, they were planning to catch the Ghost, so they sort of had this recon team there, but instead of getting the Ghost, they went back and saved Amu instead. And then the North American bad guys captured Ghost, and they're using it for research. And kind of this main bad guy who's this industrial spy guy who's unfortunately named German, which just kind of makes things more confusing because all of the bad guys are associated with different countries. But anyway, we find out that he's sort of pulling the strings behind everything that's been going on in the show. He's the one who tried to capture Kenbu's AI Guy, which is what led to Amu finding it in episode 1. And now he's brought Ghost to the North American army. And then the branch of the North American army from last episode that had attacked the Resistance, they regrouped, and they're attempting to attack the rebels again, but they lose pretty easily, but it was a cool battle. And then Amu gives their commander a chance to retreat, but then kills him instead, kind of much to everyone's surprise. And to be clear, the commander said he was not going to retreat, so it wasn't that Amu kind of lied or was dishonest. This was actually a pretty good episode. Obviously I really didn't like the last episode that much. Was not particularly looking forward to the remainder of the show, but I did think they did a good job this week. First, like I said, they did the info dump to sort of explain what was going on, which was kind of generic, but they kind of explained the structure, this kind of corporate structure and kind of the overall plot of the show. I think we have a better idea of who the true villains are going to be, including Shock, the red-haired guy. Kind of the unfortunate thing is that the Japanese rebels are kind of just pawns again. At the beginning of the show, they were kind of pawns of different countries, and now they're kind of just pawns of corporations. So there's that, but we'll see how that gets resolved. And they're still keeping what happened to Amu during the 8-month time skip as a mystery. Clearly he's changed, but we don't really know what trainings or hardships he went through, and we're starting to see it cause some tension within the team. I'm sure we'll be disappointed by the reveal, but I am interested to find out. I think also that I could really see the appeal of this show resting on how long they keep this a secret and how good a reveal, it is. Outside of the plot development, we had a pretty cool battle. Everyone got upgrades, but shockingly, nothing really looks much different, so I guess maybe the model kits aren't selling. They do a cool breakdown of how the Kuretsu members are using teamwork to beat up the North American army. And then finally, we see how Amu has become much less emotional at the end and is much more willing to do what has to be done, for Japan, even though he does try to avoid violence when necessary. Anyway, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. And if you didn't, tell me about it in the comments. I'm going to be doing anime reviews on Monday and figure reviews on Fridays, and occasionally have an extra one on Wednesdays. Thanks so much, and keep collecting.